But if your employer is unsupportive, understand how you can still go about executing your study abroad plans. Don't go and say, I have not been able to travel abroad because my boss does not want me to travel. Like, today, so we are going to be talking about how you can successfully execute your study abroad plans without notifying an unsupportive employer. All right, there are lots of people that want to travel abroad, but their employers are actually against this plan, right? So if this is your situation, what should you do about it? All right, so before I tell you about what you should go about it, let me tell you some of the things that makes it easier for your employer, for an unsupportive employer, to see that you are trying to relocate abroad. Don't get me wrong, if your employer is nice, cool, supportive of your relocation plan, feel free, let them know about it, because they can go an extra mile to support you in ways you cannot imagine, right? Chances are that your employer, or being an employer, probably have a lot of money. You know, there'll be people that will tell me that the employer paid for maybe IELTS exam for them, your employer paid for flight tickets for them, employer paid for, you know, even school fees for them, or give them statement of accounts or stuff like that, or wrote a great reference letter for them, whether they are doing admission or something, right? Employers can be can assist. However, there are lots of unsupportive employers like that, right? And if you are working with one of those unsupportive employers, this is how to go about your study abroad plans without notifying them, so that they don't stop you, right? Okay, so let's look at the first one, IELTS, which is like, sometimes some people will come to an employer and say, hey, I need 1 week off. I want to go and study for my IELTS exam, or I need some time off. My exam is coming. My IELTS exam is coming. I want you to know that this is one way you can tip off an unsupportive employer about your relocation plan, right? Because now you feel you need to go and do IELTS. You need to tell them, you see. And I remember by the time I was trying to study abroad, when I did not already know that you don't need IELTS to relocate abroad. I remember that already 1 year plus before that time, I was like, let me be preparing. Let me go and do IELTS. Let me go and do GRE. You know, you just want to be doing those exams to be telling your mind that you are doing something. You don't even know that you are not doing anything. Because what you are spending time and money on, you don't even need it. Do you know? Do you know? Anyway, the worst part is that you are going to ask for time off from an unsupportive employer so that you can go and read and pass your IELTS or read and pass your GRE. Something you don't even need. So, one way to do this is, don't write IELTS because you don't need it. Don't write IELTS because you don't need it. Don't write GRE because you don't need it. Right? If you are following Vantage Migration method, then you don't need it. That's it. You don't need it. Okay, so instead of you going to go and ask for time for exam, why not learn how you can relocate abroad without writing exam? Right? Just like what we teach. You learn how to relocate abroad without writing exam. That way you don't even need to ask for time off to go and prepare for exam. That way you don't need to tip off your unsupportive employer. Alright? Now the other one you need to know is that for so many other people, they'll be counting, they'll say, let me tell my employer now, so that when it is time for me to relocate, they can give me their statement of account. This is one of the major reasons people feel the need to go and involve an unsupportive employer. One thing I want you to know is that you can relocate abroad on scholarship, on full scholarship for that matter. Or even if your scholarship is not full scholarship, you can get study loan and complete it. The scholarship people will give you the statements that you need, right? The loan people, if you are using loan, will give you the statement that you need. So with this, you don't even need your own account or the account of any other person. right? So instead of you to tip up an unsupportive employer where they can then begin to deal with you even before you reach the stage of relocating, it is better for you to look for scholarship and study loan to complete to finance your study abroad plan instead of going to go and tell the employer, right? Now another thing I talked about here is maybe some people feel I have to go and tell this unsupportive employer in case they need they ask me to submit reference. The thing is that, and the way schools do references, you will not see the reference letter that your employer is going to submit. So if you are going to go and tell an unsupportive employer to write a reference letter for you, do you know that they can sabotage the process? They'll just tell the school in that letter, this guy is an idiot, don't even give him admission. Do you get? So that means that if you are working with an unsupportive employer, don't think that you want to go and ask them to write a good reference letter for you. Find an alternative. Maybe find reference letter from where you worked long time ago. Find reference letter maybe from your direct supervisor, who maybe you can talk to better. Do you get my point? So whether it's exam writing, know that, like we've talked about 3 things you can do so that you can successfully execute your study abroad plan without notifying an unsupportive employer. Don't ask for time off for exam. You don't even need exams to relocate. 2, don't inform them that you need statement of account from them, because you can get scholarship and study loan to finance your study abroad. 3, don't ask them for reference letter. Find reference letter from another employer or a senior colleague at work who would not, rat you out. So these are the common areas that people feel. Some people, they feel like, I don't want to tell my employer, but I have to tell my employer because of these things. That's why I'm showing you the alternative, right? How you can go about it. So yes, there are lots of remember, there are lots of employers that are supportive. There are lots of employers that are unsupportive about this whole study abroad or relocation abroad thing. So keep that in mind. But if your employer is unsupportive, understand how you can still go about executing your study abroad plans. Don't go and say, I have not been able to travel abroad because my boss does not want me to travel. Like, if you don't want to travel abroad because you don't want to travel abroad, that's okay. Okay? But if you don't want to travel abroad because your employer is sitting on your neck and you can't travel, then that's not okay. Right? That's not okay. Alright. So what question will you like me to answer for you today? Let's see. What question? Drop your question so that I can answer them. What question will you like me to answer for you today? Type your question. Write it as a comment. All right, and I'll take it off from there. What question will you like me to answer for you today? So Wisdom is saying, how do I kickstart a master's degree even when I had already started one in the country? It doesn't matter if you have started already. So in terms of the how, there's a 3-step process you can go through. The first one is for you to complete our free study abroad webinar. Do that today. Go to www.vantagemigration.ca. All right? www.vantagemigration.ca. Please, if you're watching me right now, could you comment the link for the sake of those that are not used to, that couldn't get what I'm saying? www.vantagemigration.ca. That's number 1 step. Number 2 step is that once you complete the webinar, in the webinar, we're going to give you a link to check your eligibility. So check your eligibility. Compulsory. Check your eligibility. Number 3, once you check your eligibility and you're eligible, then you can email us to execute with us. All right? So 3-step process. Register and complete the webinar at www.vantagemigration.ca. 2, check your eligibility. Eligibility link will be given to you inside the webinar. 3, send us an email once you are done with all of this and let's execute together. Our email address will be shown to you once you check your eligibility. So you just have to, the first thing and most important thing you need to do is to go to www.vantagemigration.ca. Okay, I have another question here. How does one successfully apply for study in Canada and get a scholarship? Okay, that's awesome. This is one thing we are known for. We are famous for scholarship, especially full scholarship, right? So start by completing our free webinar at www.vantagemigration.ca, and we'll show you, what to do next. Okay, I have Alex watching from Nigeria. Thank you so much. She's asking if her siblings can relocate with her as a dependent. If your parents are dead and you are the only one taking care of your sibling, which means that they are your primary responsibility, and they are below 18 or 22, let's just say below 18, then embassy will allow you to travel with them. But if your parents are alive, officially your siblings are not your responsibility, so they won't allow you to travel with them. Or if your parents are dead, but your sibling is already an adult, they can't travel with you. So it's a yes or no, depending on what your situation is. All right, whether you can travel with your siblings or not. If your siblings are adults, instead of traveling with them, help them find their own admission and they can travel on their own because they are adults. And adulthood starts after 18 years old. Okay, so for example, you may not be able to travel with your sibling as your dependent if they are adults, but you can find admission for them, help them find scholarship, and they can relocate with that. Okay, so let's look at other questions that people have asked. I think I have a response for Lillian. Lillian, you are always asking questions, but you're never taking my advice. That's too bad for you. Always asking questions, never taking my advice. If you are the kind of person you always asking questions, but whenever they tell you to do something, you don't do it, your life will remain where it used to be. So for all those who are like that, who will come ask for advice, you tell them what to do, but they will never take it, and they are coming back to ask you the second question, coming back to ask you the third question. Even the first one you told them to do, they've not done it. You are wasting your life and wasting every other person's time, and that is very bad for you. So if you fall under this situation, follow the advice given to you. Number one, complete the free webinar at www.vantagemigration.ca. How you will know you've completed it is that you also be given the eligibility link. 2, go and check eligibility, whether you believe you're eligible or not. It is compulsory. Go and check eligibility. After you check eligibility, you're going to see our email address. Any other question you have, send us an email. This is the instruction. Are you going to follow it? This is the instruction. All right. So I gave that response because I know that the lady has been asking questions in my different live sessions and never taking advice. Okay. Will you be accepted from the university overseas, and can you be able to secure a scholarship? Will you be accepted? Of course, if you won't be accepted, we won't even be here, right? We are here talking to you about this because schools are accepting people. So yes, you'll be accepted and you can get a scholarship. Is there everybody that will get scholarship? If you know what you are doing, you get scholarship. If you are trained, you get scholarship. And so when we say get scholarship, doesn't mean carry your body like this, go say where is the scholarship. Go ask all those that followed that way. They aren't going anywhere because they are not following instruction, they are not following direction, and yet they are wondering why month in, month out their life remain the same. Don't be like that. Don't be like them, okay? You are better. Okay, let's see. This person is saying, what if you have only worked in one organization and the employer is unsupportive and doesn't give reference, or you parted on a sore note? What do you do? Okay, let's think about that question. What do you do? There are lots of schools that we allow you to submit academic references without professional references. Even when a school asks you to submit professional references, they will still accept academic references. So you can use your lecturers as a referee. Okay. So this person asks question, say, if you have worked in one organization and the employer is unsupportive, so what do you do? You can use your lecturers as your referee. All right. That's one thing. But if and then the other person said maybe you left on a sore note. Here, by the way, I am not here to support people who who will tell their employer waka 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 on their way out. If you are that kind of person that you are calling your employer unsupportive because you are the real, you are the person victimizing your employer. If you are that kind of person, my advice is not for you. It's actually one special place in the one special place in hell that is waiting for you, my dear. You get, except you repent. One of the things you can do is that you can actually go and apologize. You can go and apologize. Sometimes we are young, you know, we are young. Our head is full of things. We don't even know what career is. We have gone to, you know, scatter somebody's business or scatter their life. Why shouldn't they be offended? They will be offended. But if you realize that what you did that time is not good, go back and apologize and move on. Right? Because you may be thinking of referee today. You don't even know where you're. Like, I saw this real life. Somebody left a workplace and they have thrown everything. It's a woman actually. Have scattered everything in their workplace, you get? So now, they have gone to somewhere else to apply for a job. All right? Well, and why they apply for that job, the current employer that wanted to employ them, the employer that wanted to employ them saw that they have worked somewhere else because they put it on their CV. All right? So the employer saw that they've worked somewhere else, and the employer happened to know that other employer. So he reached out to the employer, the employer to say, hey, I saw that you worked with this person some time ago. How are they? And that one was like, treat them like snake. They have venom. They are about to bite. Right? Because that was exactly what the woman did at the other workplace. It suffices to say that the would-be employer, the prospective employer did not hire the woman. Like, I'm not even making this story up. It happened real life. Do you get? So you may be waiting for reference. The way you come and ask your employer, you don't even know that. Do you know that a lot of CEOs, they hang out together? You don't know. But one thing is that if your employer is the one that is being evil, they will not be able to talk. Because they don't want to go expose themselves that they are maltreating their staff. So they won't be able to talk. So that said, I'm trying to explain that if you left a place on a sore note and you were the one that was vomiting venom, go and apologize. Life is still long, go. How old are you? Do you get? There's still many years ahead of you. It may not be school. It can be something, including karma, that will catch up with you. Do you get? So if you left a place on a sore note and it was you know that you really played a role in destroying many things, including relationship, mend your ways. That said, I also know that some employers, you as the employee, you are doing your best. You as the staff, you are doing your best. But this employer is just unsupportive for their own reason. These are the people I'm advising. I'm not supporting nonsense. You get? Okay. So, because myself, I'm an employer and I've seen good people and I've seen bad people. Trust me. So, I know that it is not always one way. Okay. So, this person is asking, if one already have a master's from an African country but still wants to do another master's overseas, I'm sure you are asking, is that possible? Yes, it is possible. Follow the 3-step process, okay? Which is complete our free webinar at www.vantagemigration.ca. And second thing, check your eligibility. And the third one is email us to execute with us. So that's the 3-step process. If you already have a master's before, don't worry about it. Once you are with us, you'll be able to, we will guide you on how to figure out the next program to do. Whether you should be doing another master's, another PGD, or a PhD, right? So we'll figure, and what you should do, like based on what you are going to do, based on the program you are going to do, what you are going to do with that master's on your CV and personal statement is going to be different. There are people who have to remove it from their CV. There are people who need to keep it on their CV, right? So it's tricky. It's not as straightforward as you think. So please, if you are wanting to execute this, I advise you to get a guide, somebody who have done it before, who will train you, okay, and show you exactly how to do it. Let's see. Let's see another question. Can my children and wife relocate with me via a student visa? 100%. Yes. If you're a man, you get admission, your wife and your kids can go with you as dependents. If you're a woman, you get admission. If you're a wife, you get admission. Your husband and your children can go with you as dependents. You can go with all your children at once. You can go with some of your children. You can even go and then let your wife join you later. Anything you want to do. Funny enough, people think embassy tell them what to do. No, embassy doesn't tell you what to do. The most important thing is that if you are going with your child, that you should have the money that you used to feed them, which makes sense. Are you going to allow hunger to catch your child in the land of unknown, right? Are they going to sleep outside? So these are basic things that you need to have anyways. So embassy is not being unreasonable. All right, I think we can call it a day. So thank you very much for joining this session. What is it I want you to do? Tag somebody to this video so that they can hear it, especially if you know maybe a colleague or something is suffering from having an unsupportive employer, or your friend or your sibling. Tag them to this video so that they are aware of what they need to do. All right, take good care of yourself till I see you again. Bye.